Hey, good morning to Thomas Christian School and Fairfield Christian School. Happy Monday. Hope you were able to stay dry over the weekend. Hope you got a chance to get out and enjoy some of the sunshine as it came back on Sunday. Hey, we're going to start our new week. Means we have a new memory verse. We have a new trait this week. Our trait this week is being honorable. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the memory verse for this week. It's coming from the book of 2 Corinthians. It's chapter 8, is verses 20 and 21. And the memory verse says, "We are traveling together to guard against any criticism for the way we are handling this generous gift. We are careful to be honorable before the Lord, but we also want everyone else to see that we are honorable." Now, as I read through this verse, and as we read through this verse, you probably have a couple of questions. One of the questions you probably have is, who's we? And the second question you probably have is, what is this gift? Well, the we in this is Paul. It's also Titus, and it's some of his missionary partners as they are traveling throughout the land to distribute a gift. Well, what is this generous gift? Well, in order to know what that is, we actually have to back up to the beginning of verse 8 and actually the end of verse 7. What was happening is that the church at Corinth, the church of the Corinthians, they had started an offering, and the offering was intended for Jews and believers who were being persecuted and who were suffering troubles across the land. And they started this generosity offering probably a year to Paul going to distribute the gift. It was started under one leader, but Titus took on the mantle and took on the challenge of collecting the gift. And then, of course, once he collected it, he also needed to distribute the gift. And so this is the generous gift that Paul is referring to here. Again, Corinthians is one of the letters that was written by Paul. Mr. Fortney and I have both talked several times about Paul is responsible for writing anywhere between 60 to 70% of the New Testament. So this is Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And so what he's trying to tell the Corinthians, and the message he's trying to get across to us is that it's important for us to think about how we are doing things. It's important for us to make sure that we are honorable in things that we do, and things in the actions that we're taking part of. And so when it comes to money, this generous gift refers to money. This was a collection taken by people. This collection, this offering, had been taken for over a year. It was started under one leader, and then another leader came in, had to understand the vision of what this gift was, why it was being taken, and if it was going to get to the people for whom it was intended. All of which means that the person in charge of it needs to have honorable intentions. They need to be trustworthy. And when we come with that word honorable, honor means to hold in high regard. It also means synonyms for honorable are things like integrity, trustworthy, believable, dependable. So that's one of the traits that God wants from us. And as we are taking on God's missions and doing the things that God calls us to do, we want to be honorable in the things that we do. We want to make sure that we finish what we start. We want to make sure that we finish it to the best of our ability. And we want to make sure that we achieve the outcome that we set out to achieve. And we also want to make sure that when we are living our life and we are doing things in view of mankind, in view of people around us, we want to make sure that we are living honorably and that we're doing things honorably. Because not only are people looking at us, but they're also looking at the Lord when we proclaim his name. And so we can't on one day say we are honorable, and then the next day, when it comes time to do whatever it is we are called to do, live a dishonorable life. That is one way to erode your ministry and turn people away from the gospel than almost anything else, is when we are living and acting in a way that doesn't bring honor to the name of the Lord and bring honor to what we're doing. So this verse, it shows us, and it's I don't think it's any coincidence that it has to do with money, because when it comes to people's money, all sorts of feelings and emotions and thoughts come to mind. Mr. Fortney, before he came to Fairfield Christian School, trained tigers. One of the things I did before I came to education is I worked at a bank, and I have seen people's beliefs, their philosophies, the emotional connection that they have to their money. And sometimes money will make people do crazy things. And what Paul is saying in this is like, hey, even with this money, we are going to make sure that we get it to where it's supposed to go. And not only is he going to make sure, it says we are making extra steps. Some translations say we are taking pain, meaning that we are being we're paying extra attention. We're being extra vigilant to make sure that you cannot say that we did not do what we said we were going to do. And so as you go through your life, as you are taking on the mantle, as you are taking on things that God asks you to do, take the pain to make sure you're being honorable. Paul states in the text that he's not only being honorable, he wants to be honorable in front of the Lord, but beyond that, he also wants to be honorable in front of man. Meaning that if you're honorable in the eyes of God, you must obviously be honorable in the eyes of man. So are you honorable? Are you living your life in a way that brings honor to yourself? Are you living your life in a way that brings honor to your family name? Are you living in a way that brings honor to your school? Are you bringing honor to your church? And most importantly, are you bringing honor to the Lord? And that's what the verse is asking us and challenging us to do. So that's our memory verse for this week. I'm sure you'll have some good conversations throughout the week about it. Have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week. Until next time, God bless you. Bye.